I'm Elvira Guzman. I'm an author, speaker, publicist, and talk show host. I've owned a publicity company for 10 years after starting my career working for Steve Harvey as a radio and television producer. I've worked on TV and films with celebrities like Halle Berry, Forrest Whitaker, Terrence J, Amber Rose, Mike Epps. I've done concerts for Ice Cube, The Game, Music Soul Child. I've worked on books for Shirley Strawberry, Troy Byer, and I've done philanthropy projects with Hollywood's heroes like Danny Trejo. Throughout my career, all of the projects I've done have had one common thread. They all help people find their way. Welcome back to the show. I'm very excited about my first guest. She's a very successful doctor and entrepreneur. She helps people all over the world, and she's the owner of Wellness Suites, a holistic spa here in Hollywood, California. I'm very excited to welcome my good friend, Dr. Ray. Dr. Ray, welcome to the show.
Oh, good afternoon, and thank you so very much for having me. Welcome to everyone that's out there listening to you today.
Fantastic. Well, congratulations on all of your success. I know that you personally inspire me, and I know that you inspire many women out there. Today, we're talking about forgiveness, about forgiving ourselves and forgiving others. Has there ever been a time in your journey where you've made a mistake that was hard for you to forgive yourself for?
Sure. There were quite a few of those times early on in my career. Because you don't know a lot of things when you first start out, and you want to be what you talked about earlier in your intro, perfect. There is no such thing as perfect. We have all been created to be fallible, and so with God's grace, we truly begin to understand how we recover, I should say, from making those mistakes that we made early on in our lives.
Yeah, so when you forgave yourself, what steps did you take in order to finally get to a place of peace?
First of all, I had to acknowledge the fact that I had made a mistake. So denial is one of the areas that keeps you from accepting yourself as fallible, I should just say. So once I did that, once I established the fact that I had actually made a mistake, whether it was purposefully or not, the mistake was made, and somebody could actually have been hurt as a result of the error that I made. So I had to, again, come out of denial and thinking that I was not responsible for the errors that I had made. And once you do that, you're already halfway through the process of getting yourself better and being able to acknowledge the fact that you made the error. However, it does not define you for the rest of your life.
Well, that's excellent advice, and you're right. Many times when we make mistakes, we don't take responsibility, and it's hard to get over and past it because we're not taking the correct steps. So that's so true. I know that a lot of our viewers are dealing with this currently. Like I mentioned in my intro, 100% of us make mistakes, and not just one, but many mistakes in our lives. But I know some of our viewers are dealing with a lot of hardships because maybe their mistakes have actually caused them to be incarcerated, or to lose a family member, or to lose friends. What advice can you give them in order to move on?
One of the primary areas that I would suggest that they do is to, again, acknowledge the fact that you've made the error, acknowledge the fact that God did not create you to just be a mistake, and when you do that, you already begin to liberate yourself from the error. The liberation comes through stop denying it, stop lying, is what I said. And so you get to a point in your life where you say, I should just stop lying to myself first, and then subsequently to other people. So those errors are a part of your journey. Own it, move forward from it.
Yeah, I know that, I know personally with me and with a lot of my friends that I know, we've had people betray us, hurt us, especially in our family. And it's hard to really get over that. We could forgive, but to get over that is difficult because we still have to see them at family functions. We have to see them at different events. How would you say we forgive and accept family members that have hurt us in the past?
Judging is a sin. So judge not, lest ye be judged. And when we stop judging, we can acknowledge the fact that they are as human as we are, and they have not necessarily done whatever that pain was on purpose, no different than when you made your particular error. You have to think about it. Did you do it on purpose? Were you completely focusing to hurt someone intentionally? And then we look at that family member, whether it be our parents, our sibling, first cousin, second cousin, whomever that person is, we must acknowledge the fact that they were actually not purposely set out to make our lives painful. And so that is the first area that I would look at. Don't judge the person because you don't want to be judged for the errors that you've made in your life as well.
Yeah, you're so right. I know that a lot of our viewers work in corporate America, and you know what it's like to climb the corporate ladder, and sometimes people are throwing jabs at you, taking full credit for reports or projects that you've done. What would you say about forgiving someone in the workplace that you have to see every single day?
One of the things that would be helpful is to strengthen yourself, first of all, and certainly stop allowing people to trample over you. Stop allowing people to manipulate you in your assignment, because the job is your assignment. So stop allowing that, and when you strengthen yourself and stop allowing that to occur, you clearly have the capacity now to confront the person who is manipulating you from behind the scenes, and taking credit for your accomplishments and the work that you're doing. So the forgiveness will only come when you become stronger. You have to strengthen yourself and strengthen your resolve. Otherwise, you will remain a victim in their plan.
You're right, and we do not have time to be victims in this life, people.
Exactly, right?
So my final question for you is, how important do you feel forgiveness is in one's life in order to be successful?
There is no success when you are riddled with guilt. And so should you choose not to forgive yourself first, and subsequently people around you who have been who have caused pain for you, I should say, nothing changes in your life until you do that. Nothing happens. You don't meet those goals that you set for yourself. You don't reach the pinnacle of your possibility until you actually forgive yourself first for all of the missteps that you've made, and then subsequently forgive yourself for the ones that you haven't even acknowledged yet. There's some more that come down the pike, I should say. And so certainly forgiving oneself first is the first step to freedom. The liberation doesn't start until you start with yourself.
Wow, that's a fantastic advice. Now, we've received tons of messages on social media. Can I read you a few and you answer our audience?
Certainly.
Wonderful. Okay, let's see. Michael from Texas says, when my parents got divorced, I didn't see my father for years. Birthdays and holidays were especially hard. Now that I'm a successful engineer, now he's calling me and wants to rekindle our relationship, but I have so much hurt, I don't know if I could forgive him. What advice can you give me to find a resolution and to feel peace about this?
The first advice that I would give you is to actually use the pain to catapult you to your goals. You are justified in being able to say that you're angry and that this was painful. So don't stay in the denial is the first thing. Once you acknowledge the fact that you have been hurt, and then you acknowledge the fact that he was human, he still is human, and he makes mistakes as well. He made some decisions that were costly to other people emotionally, but trust and believe he has paid a painful cost for that decision himself.
Yeah, and I would also say that people change. Maybe who your dad was at that time was someone who wasn't mature enough, or maybe he was hurt and he didn't know how to deal with that. But now he's really trying, and I would say it's never too late to reestablish that relationship. Okay, so the next question is from Jessica from Spain. She says, I recently found out my sister was seeing my ex-boyfriend. I wasted 4 years of my life in that relationship, and to find out our breakup had to do with my sister infuriates me. I haven't spoken to her, and my mother is very concerned and is getting sick, and I don't want to see her stressed out, but I also don't know how to let it go. What should I do?
That is your sibling for life. It is unfortunate that your lives and your paths crossed with that type of devastation. The however is in the end result, the guy, whoever he was, that came in between the love of a sibling, he will have to be accountable for that. I would like to not see you go through the rest of your life and have that pain be the reason that you have not embraced your sister for some time.
Yeah, excellent advice. I mean, personally, I don't even know what I would do. That seems like such a hard obstacle. But just sending our love to you. Dwayne from New York asks, my boss is always saying hurtful things to me in front of others in the office to make everyone laugh. And I laugh in the moment also because I feel so uncomfortable, but it really hurts. How can I tell him how I feel without sounding too soft or too harsh? I like my job and I don't want to get fired, but I want his comments to stop.
I would strongly suggest that you take him to the side and tell him how hurtful those comments are, and don't allow him to continue to. Here's what people fail to realize. People don't grow out of things. They grow into everything. So until a behavior is addressed and or stopped, it continues. And so the only way that he will stop is if you acknowledge the fact that you are hurt by them, and also it's very unprofessional for him to do that in front of you at your expense.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And just because he's a boss doesn't mean that he's the best person in the world. Maybe he was picked on when he was younger and he's just coming from a hurt place. It doesn't make it okay. But I think you pointed it out to him that it actually bothers you will actually make him wake up and be like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? I'm doing what someone did to me and that's not okay. So definitely call him out on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, call him out.
Yeah. The next question is from Joseph from California. I recently got in a car accident on my way home from a business meeting where I had a few drinks and I got a DUI. Everyone was okay, thank God. I immediately fell into a depression because I think I'm a terrible person and I feel stupid. My personal relationships are being affected because I just don't want to go out anymore. And I feel it's affecting my work life also because I'm not that outspoken or happy anymore. How can I forgive myself for my mistake and begin loving myself again?
First of all, stop drinking. That's the first. Stop drinking and driving. That's the first thing. So don't keep repeating the behavior is, again, the first step. Acknowledge the fact that that was wrong, but what was the cause of that? Was it the drinking, or was it just that that particular day? So again, don't drink and drive. The people continue to reinforce that for these particular reasons. So if you don't want to have this occasion occur again, I strongly suggest that you put the alcohol down, begin to do some reflective things like thinking on meditation, thinking about why it is that you even induce your body with alcohol in the first place. And if you get to the point where you've overextended that drink, why? Get some help.
Great answer. Okay, the last question is from Steve from Orange County. When you forgive, do you have to forget? Meaning, if someone hurt me once, I forgive them, do I have to allow them back into my life?
No, you don't owe them that. That's the truth. The forgiveness is mostly so that you can liberate yourself from the pain. It has really nothing to do with the other person. They are still accountable for their behavior, and so are you. So to forgive them and not forget is a very smart move. So you don't want to repeat the same life challenges that you've had in the first place. So I say yes, forgive for yourself, forget for them.
Definitely, I agree. I mean, in my personal life, I had an ex-boyfriend that left me when I was really down, and he left me for someone who was much younger. And in the moment, I felt destroyed.
How could that be?
I know, right? Did you see me?
Really?
But in the moment, I felt terrible, and I couldn't even think about forgiving him because I was so filled with hurt, and then hurt turned to anger, and then anger turned to silence because I didn't want to speak to him ever. Mm-hmm. But what I had to learn is that if I didn't forgive him, I was going to continue to put all of the next people that I dated through what I felt I should have put him through. So then I was being short with other guys. I was negative. So it was really until I forgave him completely where I could say, okay, I'm thinking about him, but God bless you. I hope you're doing fine, and I hope that you moved on and that person is good for you. And ultimately, I'm really, really happy now that that happened, because hindsight is always 20/20, and I was always too good for him for sure.
Oh, you definitely were too good for him for certain. But here is what the person does not realize. The person that you are angry with or that has hurt you is not actually suffering. You're the only person that's suffering, and the more you swallow that that stress, the more your body is being affected by it. You're going to get headaches. You're going to land that stress in areas that you have no idea, in your pancreas, in your behind sometimes. So it lands a lot of different places in the body, but it is always, I repeat, it is always detrimental to your health, both emotionally and physically. So you want to relieve that, your body and yourself, of that pain and that trauma that you continue to swallow and you continue to give yourself.
Wow, fantastic advice, and I can't believe our time is up.
Yes, listen, we'll come back.
Yes, for sure. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
I always enjoy being with you.
Oh, you're so sweet. Well, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after these messages.